Hey everybody, we're back on a very original concept. Okay, so I've honestly wanted to do this for a while. I just kind of never got around to it because I know that the whole trend on it has very much died down, but I don't really care about that too much. I just, this is more so for me because I don't really sit down and rank anything. Um, but now I just thought, like, since there's a bit of a dry period before we get Black Ops 6 coming out and revealed and all that, so I thought I'd actually just go back and look at all the other campaigns and rank them from what I think is the worst and the best. So this is going to be campaigns only. Campaigns only from my experience, and I have played almost every single one of these campaigns. Every single one, except for I think one or two, but we will get to those when we get to them. So I'm gonna not do this in any particular order. I'm just gonna close my eyes, circle around, and grab something. Okay, Black Ops 3. Okay, so this is gonna go like overall campaign. It's not gonna be just the story or just the gameplay. It's gonna be overall. I'm gonna say Black Ops 3 is a bad campaign. And the reason I'm not putting it into very bad is because, yes, the story's all over the place and all of that. It's very confusing, hard to follow, and you're not going to pick up on it on the first playthrough. Maybe not even the second. Maybe not even the third. But the reason I'm putting it in only bad and not very bad is because the game did introduce a bunch of interesting mechanics that were very fun to play through on the first go. Still would not recommend this campaign, but it is not the worst. It is definitely one of the worst, but it is not the worst. All right, next one. COD 4. Okay, we are going to put the COD 4 in. I'm not going to say it's the best, but it is very good. It is definitely a top 5 campaign of all time. But this, like, COD 4 is a campaign that set the foundation for what the franchise has become and will become. A lot of things we saw in COD 4 we will still be seeing, whether that's references that you will pick up on, maybe just minuscule details. COD 4 was great, but the one thing that I feel like the only one thing that I felt like it held it back was the fact that it's an outdated game. I love COD 4. Love it. The campaign's great. The multiplayer is so much fun. But it is such a pain to go back and play, especially with some of the things that we get spoiled with nowadays, like faster movement and all that, that keeps the game very engaging and fresh. This is definitely hard to go back to every now and then. And I might get a lot of heat for saying that, but that's just where I stand. I love the game, but it is definitely a chore to go back to every now and then. All right, Call of Duty 2. I personally would say Call of Duty 2 is a good campaign. Um, it's a bit weird because if I remember correctly, this takes place Call of Duty 2 takes place before Call of Duty 1, if I remember correctly. So there's a bit of intertwining yet also confusion there. It's a generic World War II game. Nothing against World War II games. I love World War II as a story and as a setting. There's a lot of grounds there to, you know, yeah. But it's just nothing nowadays to, you know, hold on to. Because keep in mind, this was 20 years ago. This game was 20 years ago. At the time, it might have been groundbreaking, but there's not really. I'm gonna say Call of Duty was like the original Call of Duty was in the same boat. They are great. Like they're good. They're good. They're really good campaigns for the time. For the time, they probably do not hold up. I will say Call of Duty 3 is definitely in the same boat. I would put this in mid, but there is no mid. You know what? Hang on. I'm gonna actually change these. Bad, mid, good, great, and amazing. All right. So with that being said, Black Ops 3 is going down. That's going up. That's going up. Okay, perfect. That's much better. But I will say that I did enjoy. No. There we go. All right, so just moving on from that. All right. I'm just gonna close my eyes again. Stop. What did I grab? Modern Warfare 2019. Great campaign. I may have not liked the multiplayer much, but the campaign was absolutely amazing. It was gritty. It was dark. It had you on the edge of the seat. It had a bunch of different variety when it came to the mission. I loved the mission Clean House. I loved the final, like the finale of the campaign where it reveals Task Force 141 and all that. It is definitely a great pickup from what the original trilogy set up, and it's just great. It was the first Call of Duty on the new engine, and I remember vividly when I was watching the reveal trailer for the first time, and it opened up and you heard the woods and you saw on screen it saying actual in-game footage. I was actually confused. I had to go back and read that back again to make sure I read that again, like, correctly, because games never really show you in-game footage in the reveal trailer, but they were so confident in their new engine and all that that they showed literal in-game footage for it, and I thought that was just impressive. They knew they had something with this campaign. The characters were great. The story was pretty good. I will say that they did a great job at making the villain hateable, but not making him very strong, if you know what I mean. It's like he's an asshole, but he's not an asshole that like, he's a horrible guy, but he's not a great villain like Raul Menendez. I don't know how else to say that. I do wish that a few characters did get more time in that, but I can't really complain because the characters that I wish got more time were very expanded upon. Um, the one thing I did not like about this game is simply just the fact that some of the missions kind of felt dragged on towards the end of the game. Not dragged on in like a bad way, more so they could have ended one way and the mission went on for another 5 minutes. That's all. So it's nothing too drastic. That's just my only gripe with it. Overall, though, I still think it is a great campaign. All right, I'm gonna go Modern Warfare 2. I'm gonna say it's a good campaign. It's a good campaign. Personally, I think that I like the story. The story I think is pretty good. I enjoyed the characters. I was so devastated when Philip Graves betrayed them because I really liked Graves' character. I really, I liked that General Shepard was a guy from Transformers. I'll say that. But overall, the gripe I had with it is, again, just like the first game, some missions dragged on for much longer than they needed to, such as the all gillied up reskin, as well as the fact that some of the missions took Warzone mechanics and just made them a thing. Like, I liked the idea of it, but the execution wasn't the best. But I will say this game is something I would recommend. I would recommend Modern Warfare 2, going to play it if you haven't. It's definitely worth your time. It's an average COD campaign. The ending of it, like, there's what's the word I'm looking for? The crafting mechanic is not something I can say I'm too fond of. But then again, it's only in 2 missions, and one of the 2 missions it was in, it was actually really good. You'd have to find things around and craft equipment to survive. But the second mission it was in, which was the last mission, it just didn't work too well. It was kind of thrown in there last minute. I also really liked the Ghost and Soap dynamic. It was absolutely amazing and it had me laughing for 5 minutes. This is bad. Modern Warfare 3 is bad. Modern Warfare 3 should not have made it to stores. Also, can I just say, what are the, like, I just did all 3 Modern Warfare games in a row, so, oh well, that doesn't matter. Modern Warfare 3 should not have been a $70 game. I played this campaign as soon as it dropped early access, finished it in 6 hours. And 2 of those 6 hours, I went to the store and did all that. I will say that the first mission was so good. It was so good. The first mission was so good. It had me like it grasped my attention and pulled me into the narrative and all that. Um, and I would just the second mission kind of lost me, but I wasn't too fond with the open combat missions. The story though was basically the same as the old game, like the previous game, regarding missiles and all that. There were a few standout missions in my eyes, like the one mission where you are with General Shepard in that snowy area. I did enjoy that mission somewhat. Um, my the only open combat mission that I actually liked is when you're playing as Farah and you have to collect the things from around the plane crash area. I did enjoy that one. That was the only open combat mission I liked. Besides that, the campaign should not have made it to the shelves. It is. I do not recommend playing Modern Warfare 3. Modern Warfare 3 should have been a Warzone season. Makarov is out of jail and is in. And he's collecting missiles. That's what that should have been. And I don't like the Warzone continuing the campaign story. I feel like the campaign should continue the campaign story. Make the game a little longer, or maybe even add like a few extra missions throughout the seasons. I prefer that than just get a cutscene, because I am not a big Warzone person. But I'm not gonna talk anymore about Modern Warfare 3. I'm gonna just Infinite Warfare was great. Infinite Warfare was a campaign that I feel like everybody did not give a chance because of the initial reception to the reveal trailer, and that is what it is. Infinite Warfare campaign, the story overall was fairly weak. You may not actually know why the antagonists are doing what they're doing. You actually got to go out of your way to actually look into it. But for those of you who don't know, who have played the campaign, the reason the SDF were doing what they were doing was wait, I don't think I actually know. Like I found out, but I think I forgot. Um I know that the Earth was running out of materials and they were trying to fight for them, but I think that might have just been it. Anyway, so the story overall is not the best, but I will say that the mission and level layout was really good. All the missions seemed either so unique yet also at the same time so familiar that it just gave you that classic COD format with just a little bit more. Like the Jackal missions, they were prominent, but they weren't too prominent, you know? There were a handful of them out, so you'd get the enjoyment out of them, but there weren't too many that you'd get bored of them. Same thing, there was this one mission where you're on an asteroid and you're rotating around the sun and you got a timeout when you run. That was a really interesting concept. The first mission was a great introduction to the game. When you met your characters, and all the characters were so good. I won't say they're some of the best in the COD franchise, but I will say that what's a good way to put this? Okay, so any individual character in the game was not even remotely the best in the entire COD franchise, but I will say this game's campaign had the best cast of characters. There were no weak characters, besides the villains, but we're not going to talk about them. There were no weak characters. All the characters had their own time to shine, their own motivations, their own arcs. Then some of them, I'm not going to say who if y'all haven't played it, but some of them, you just... Yeah. Yeah. Great cast of characters. not okay story and really good mission layout. Definitely give this one a try if you have not already. Black Ops 4. Okay, so I'm going to count the specialist stories because this game does not actually have a campaign. I'm going to say the specialist stories are mid. They are glorified. They not even glorified. They are multiplayer matches with bots that simply just give you a cutscene. Not much more to say about that. They give you backstory of all the specialists, and even like the ongoing story with it was not really too great. It was involving Alex Mason's granddaughters, and they have a feud. Like one of them is trying to I don't even know, make an army, and the other is trying to stop her, something like that. I don't really know exactly what's going on, but I'm just gonna Black Ops 2, absolutely amazing. This is one of, if not my favorite Call of Duty campaign of all time. The two different time periods were great because like you could be playing a mission, like a few missions in a row that take place in both the like back in the 90s and 80s, and then as soon as you're starting to get bored of those concepts, bang, you're right back in 2025 with all the futuristic concepts and all that. And then maybe as soon as you're getting like old and bored of the futuristic stuff, bang, you're right back to the like gritty 90s to 80s battles. You got the return of fan favorites David or Alex and Frank Woods, but you also got great characters who are being newly introduced, like David Mason and Harper, and a bunch of these people. And one of, I think, the only unpredictable Call of Duty villain twists. Like, I'm not gonna say who, of course, but the twist villain introduced at the end of this game, I did not see coming, and I'm not saying like I always predict the villain, but I got a pretty good understanding of when somebody's gonna betray somebody. But I did not see that one coming at all. And on the second playthrough, after knowing, you get all these little hints. Or not even hints, they don't really hint at it at all. But you understand the dual meaning of some of the things this guy says. And it's great. That is a twist villain done right. And I haven't even mentioned the multiple endings. We don't know which one's the canon ending, but we will find out soon enough when Black Ops 6 rolls around, because Black Ops 6 takes place right in the middle of Black Ops 2. Because Black Ops 2 takes place back in the 80s/90s all the way up to 2025. Cold War is going to take place in the 90s. So hopefully we'll find out soon enough. And if we don't in this game, we'll definitely find out soon, because next year's is rumored to be a sequel to Black Ops 2. So hopefully we'll find out then. But overall, Black Ops 2 is an amazing campaign. Probably, if not one of my favorites. Black Ops 1, also one of my favorites. It was absolutely amazing. It drops you, oh, my bad. It drops you right into a story where you don't know who you are. You don't know who these people interrogating you are. All you know is that they want to know something that you apparently know, and they are digging into your brain over and over and over again, and you are reliving these events that you have experienced, and it really gets you thinking, like, what if you lost all of your memories and you have to live your life just by what these people tell you, and they won't stop nailing into you until they get what they need. And it keeps you on the edge of your seat the entire time. The missions were great. The layout was great. It was so much fun to play, so much fun to replay, and the twist at the end, a lot of people did not see coming. I gotta say, I did see coming, just because it was so convenient that this one guy was always here, you know. Um, but overall, fantastic campaign, and this is one of the campaigns that I would honestly wish they made into a movie. I would love them to have made this game into a movie, and just being able to go to theaters and relive this and just see it as a mass production. I mean, it already was a mass production, but you know what I mean. Being able to see the reactions of people who have never seen this before, getting a whole new audience to enjoy the Black Ops franchise. Call of Duty Ghosts was great. No, Call of Duty Ghosts was good. The characters, very weak. The characters were very weak. The narrative, like, it was all right for the most part, but after a while, it just kind of hit like a brick wall and just completely stopped in its path. Um, the mission and the missions and the locations were really good. I'm sorry. They were really good. They were really unique, and they were really like visually appealing. Um, I will say that I like, this is one of those games where I feel like they took all the criticisms, made a sequel, and just built on from that. It would be so much better. But overall, this game was just 75% good. The last 25 were just meh. Modern Warfare 2 was great. No, Modern Warfare 2 was amazing. It took every single thing the original COD 4 did and it just expanded upon it. Made it more of an action movie. Like, improve the characters, improve the heartbreak, improve every single thing about it. Modern Warfare 2 is the right way to do a sequel. It really was. If you like something about a character, like, for let me give an example about how they, like, what they did to characters. This character you find out that they had a kid and they left it at that in the first game. In the second game, this character's kid's name is Johnson. He was born November 17th, 2004. Went to this school, it just built on every single character that was involved in the game. It built on from Captain Price, Soap McTavish, and introduced a bunch of new characters as well, like Ghost and Roach and General Shepard and Makarov, who is one of the most infamous villains ever. And I just realized that I was talking about Black Ops 2, and I have not even talked about Raul Menendez. I am ashamed in myself for not even bringing him up during Black Ops 2. But it's too late now. Modern Warfare 2, amazing. Go play it. Black Ops Cold War. I'm going to say it was good. And here's why. Black Ops Cold War is obviously a COVID game. They developed it from home. For the second half, I guess. I don't know what's going on behind the thing, but what I do know is this was originally supposed to be a Sledgehammer game, and then Activision had Treyarch switch over with this and finish it up for them. If you changed a bunch of the characters' names, how they looked, but kept the story the same, it would still work. Black Ops Cold War is the most unconnected Black Ops game ever. You do not need to play the other games to know about this story. You do not need to do anything besides just hop into this game and you understand. Mason and Woods are just there because they're Black Ops characters, right? But it is obviously just a game that was developed and with a Black Ops coat of paint just slapped on it. That's not saying it's bad. I did enjoy myself with this, but I'm going to say that this is the most unconnected Black Ops game, even more so than Black Ops 3, because at least Black Ops 3... actually... Okay, never mind. I can't really say it's the most unconnected, but I will say it is definitely very disconnected from the rest of the franchise. Um, there weren't too many memorable missions. I did like how they brought back the branching story paths that was introduced in Black Ops 2. I did enjoy that. Advanced Warfare, I'm going to say it was a great campaign. Um, Especially nowadays, the villain is very unlikable. That's all I will say on that matter. But it was different. It was different, not just because it was futuristic, but because it wasn't really about a war. It was more political than anything else. Just this just this rich guy who opens a company, like a private military corporation, who just owns a bunch of soldiers for hire, is now able to attend the United Nations meeting and all that. Um, and just overall wants power. He is a guy who thinks that he knows best and will stick with that wherever he goes. The characters were not really that great. They didn't get the time they needed to develop, and they got Troy Baker to voice the main character for this game in the cutscenes, but he didn't even speak in game, which is kind of a letdown. I wish he did. Because Troy Baker is such a great actor. Um, but I will say that Gideon was such a good character. I did enjoy his presence in the game. Ilona was also pretty good. I did enjoy her presence, but Cormac was definitely my favorite of the main ish cast. He was more of like a recurring character, but he was great. The story was also really good. I really liked the story. Like, I was just talking about the political aspect of it, but I will say that quick little sidetrack. Um, the DNA bomb. Okay, so I remember I was in my history class, and my teacher basically said, "Hey y'all, just come up with a creative weapon. That's all." Because I think we were talking about how the governments were always like trying to make weapons to scare other countries. And the first, like, I was feeling lazy, so I just put in the idea for the DNA bomb. You create a bio weapon and you put in the DNA signatures of the people you don't want it to affect. And he read it at first during our free period, and he kind of put it off to the side because I guess he said he misread it. He's like, "Oh, you put the DNA of the people you want to kill." No, no. Then he read it again, and he's like, "Oh, never mind." And I ended up winning that little challenge, but that was just kind of like a side story. Sorry, for getting off topic, but I did like the idea of it. I really did. I did like all the the propaganda when it came to Atlas. Like, people will only see them as the good guys because of all of their successes, but there's that dark, like, dim underlying, and especially at knowing what happens at the end, all all of the scenes with Jonathan Irons. Now you see like the underlying meaning. Like, there's this one scene where he's interrogating this one guy, and at first on the first playthrough, it's like sounds like, oh, he's worried, and then on the second, you know that no, that's not worry, that's more excitement. And I will say that that is great, because a great twist. I forget exactly where I heard this quote, but a great twist should not rewrite everything you know, but just shine more light on it. That's it. And I love that because they didn't change anything about the scene the second playthrough. The scene's the exact same, you just see it differently. You know what he's really thinking, and I love that. So Modern Warfare 3 is great. I will say it is a great finale to the Modern Warfare game, like the trilogy, but I did not enjoy it nearly as much as MW2 and COD 4. Um, it is heartbreaking what happens to Soap at the end, and it sucks that most of those people died, but at the same time, it the sad endings are the ones that stick with you the most. That that is what I will 100% stick by. It's got that traditional Modern Warfare feel you come to expect. Similar mission layouts and locations. I did really enjoy the concept that your main characters are actually like considered wanted terrorists at this point. Like not exactly terrorists, but like they are wanted convicts. They are disavowed from any and all governments. And I really liked that because that's the first and only time they've really done that. Where you are the villain in the public opinion. Like the public opinion. And I honestly really, really loved that concept. And I wish they did something like that more and branched off. Maybe if they added on like this little subplot where they tried to prove they're innocent, but Makarov beat them to it or something like that, and it actually just makes it worse for them before it gets better. I would have loved that so much more, but it's still a really good campaign. Modern Warfare Trilogy overall, one of the best. You have all got to check it out. I swear. I'm gonna put this in. I'm gonna put this in mid, and here's why. I was gonna put it in bad. Call of Duty Vanguard was a campaign that I genuinely did not like. I genuinely did not like this campaign. The gameplay was fun. I'll give you that. But I don't play the campaign for the gameplay. I play the campaign for the story. And the only reason I did not put the game in bad is simply because of two missions. The first mission and the last mission were really good. It had me hooked. It had me hooked on all of that. Like what could possibly happen. So I played the first mission. I'm like, oh, I cannot wait to find out what happens from here. And then the actual campaign happened. So if y'all don't know, the campaign for Call of Duty Vanguard has the first mission and the last mission, which is basically the first mission's part 1, the last mission's part 2, and everything in between that are flashbacks. Yep, that's it. They're flashbacks. I can summarize what happens in the Call of Duty Vanguard campaign. A group of soldiers with different experiences, backgrounds, and specialties get sent in on this mission. Okay? They are infiltrating this place that is controlled by the Nazis. And their mission is to gain intel on this one thing. I think it was called Operation Phoenix or something like that. And they get captured. But one of them gets away. And the one that got away planted bombs around the holding cells. And when he finally does get captured, the bombs go off. And they escape with a bunch more intel than they actually initially were going for. That is it. That is all that happens to this campaign. Everything else is a flashback. When all the characters were together, the dynamics were pretty good. I gotta say, they not the greatest, but pretty good. But they were together in only 2 missions. I will say that there were a bunch of cutscenes in the middle of the missions that they were together, and you get to see more of what's happening. But if I wanted to watch what's going to happen, I should would have gone to watch a movie or a show. Give me more of my characters interacting with one another. Yeah, there's nothing more to say about CoD Vanguard's campaign. Road at War was absolutely amazing. There's not much character to it, but there were characters you can enjoy with, like for example, Victor Reznov, the most iconic character in that game. But the way it got you is from the horror, not horror like jump scares. Horror is in you feel the presence of a bunch of these people who have died. You feel the terrors of war. You get to actually experience a bunch of that. Most of the cutscenes in this game were real footage, and this was one of my probably the best Call of Duty World War II game. And speaking of Call of Duty World War II games, last game, Call of Duty World War II. I'm gonna put Call of Duty World War II in great. The reason I'm putting Call of Duty World War II in great is because I feel like World War II had really good missions. It had some really fun missions. I like the idea that your squad mates are actually there to serve a purpose, like provide you with ammo and health packs, rather than just being useless entities to provide dialogue. I enjoyed that. I didn't. I enjoyed the addition that you actually have to manage your health and all that. Like choose when you want to heal, because your health is not unlimited. The story was, it was a World War II story. It tells the events of, what happened. Um, the characters, I really enjoyed the characters. I really enjoyed Turner, Pearson, um, Styles, Zussman. What else? What's the other one's name? Daniels, and I forgot the last one's name. I see his face, staring at him right now. Like I can picture his face right now. I just can't put a name to it. What is it? There was Zussman, Styles, Daniel, and it doesn't matter. I can't figure it out. But yeah, um, so all of them were really good characters. I enjoyed the chemistry and all that. Um, but it's just that. It's just another World War II game, but with better characters. The reason I'm not putting it on level with World War II, or World at War, I mean, is because World at War, if I had to choose between a game giving me a great atmosphere and letting me imagine the horrors of what happened, or a game that showed me great characters who kind of overlooked the horrors of what happened, except at the very end. I'd choose the latter. I'd choose World at War over World War II any day. Because don't get me wrong, great characters, compelling characters is very important. But when it's a game you want to be able to show your player base to, rather than just tell them. But I will say that it's weird because despite me thinking World at War's campaign is better than World War II, I would still prefer to play World War II more than World at War. It's weird. I don't know. I'm just going over my list one more time, seeing if I want to make any last minute changes or anything like that. No, I think I'm good. I think this looks good to me. But it's already been 40 minutes. This took a lot longer than I thought it would. So I'm gonna head out. Thanks for watching and goodbye, y'all. Let me know if y'all would change anything about this list in the comments below. And go easy on me, alright? This is just my opinion. Alright, bye.